everybody who are watching right now. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Sorry about that. All right. It is a Monday today. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a fantastic start to the week. And it is a Monday, so fresh start po tayong lahat. I'm pretty sure, not a lot of you guys like Mondays. But today will be different kasi syempre, ngayon po matututo tayo. First off, I want to thank you guys for choosing to learn today. And officially welcome to our webinar on Forest Restoration, a Path to Recovery and Well-Being. Today, we will explore and learn about the benefits of forest restoration in terms of human health, food security, environmental and climatic condition, provision of green jobs, and as well as stakeholder engagement and healing. But allow me first to introduce myself. Hindi ko pa pala napapakilala yung sarili ko. My name is 𝗪𝗘𝗕𝗓, and I'm honored, I'm privileged to be hosting and facilitating this webinar. And believe me, I am as excited as you guys today to learn all about the things that our guest speakers will be imparting to us in just a little bit. Pero bago po yan, papasalamatan po muna kayong lahat. Maraming salamat po sa pagsali sa atin ngayong umaga, and again, choosing to learn today on a Monday, no less. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much to all of our participants, yung mga SHS students natin, and as well as those who are watching us from Facebook. And speaking of Facebook, pasalamatan din natin. Thank you so much to the DENR Forest Management Bureau for putting this all together. In fact, we are live right now on their Facebook page at facebook.com/FMB, I believe. All right, but they are doing this in celebration of International Day of Forests, rather. If you guys are wondering kung bakit natin ito ginagawa, International Day of Forests. This is a celebration that is held annually, every March 21. And in the Philippines, DENR-FMB spearheads a celebration for the conduct of various activities and events. Now, this year's theme, nabanggit ko na kanina, Forest Restoration, a Path to Recovery and Well-Being, which aims to raise awareness on the importance of forest restoration and valuable contribution of forests to human well-being in the post-COVID-19 pandemic recovery. Napaka-apo yan ng ating times, especially with the situation, with the current reality that we are facing right now. And later on, we will be introducing several guest speakers at talagang mag-i-enrich sa atin ng knowledge on these certain topics that they will be discussing in just a little bit. And you guys will be fortunate enough because you'll have the opportunity as well to ask them some questions afterwards. All right, and speaking of the program, let's get the ball rolling to formally start. Let us all welcome a very distinguished guest right away, the DENR Assistant Secretary for Policy, Planning, and Foreign Assisted Projects, who is also the concurrent director of the Forest Management Bureau. Let's all welcome here ASEC Marshal C. Amaro Jr.
Thank you, Martin. To all our speakers and the participants in this webinar, and to my colleagues in the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and Forest Management Bureau, blessed morning to one and all. Today, we join the world in celebrating the International Day of Forests. The International Day of Forests, or IDF, is held annually every 21st of March to raise awareness on the importance of forests to people and their vital role in poverty eradication, environmental sustainability, and food security. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, through the Forest Management Bureau, FMB, spearheads this celebration of IDF in the country through the conduct of various activities in partnership with different institutions and organizations. Photography competitions and exhibits were held to showcase the beauty of our forests and talent of Filipinos in capturing photos following the themes Forests and Water in 2016, and Forests and Energy in 2017. Building Forests, a symposium on forests and sustainable cities, was conducted in 2018 to promote initiatives on sustainable urban design and greening cities. In 2019, we tried to make our forest education interesting by sponsoring an online Pedro game to encourage more young minds to become future forestry scientists, foresters, and policymakers who will push for change and help achieve our forest goals in the future. The pandemic hit us hard last year, but still we managed to celebrate IDF by producing an infographic highlighting the role of and importance of healthy forests in preventing another pandemic. This year, as we strive to pave the road for recovery and restoration from recent natural disasters and health crises, we are conducting a webinar in line with the theme of IDF this year. And as already mentioned, and let me highlight, forest restoration, a path to recovery and well-being. Through various presentations and topics ranging from medicinal forest plants, forest bathing, and benefits of forests to well-being, the webinar will highlight the valuable benefits of forest restoration in terms of human health, food security, environmental and climatic conditions, provision of green jobs, stakeholder engagement, and healing. Also, this year's celebration is even more meaningful because 2021 marks the start of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, which emphasizes that forests, wetlands, drylands, and other natural ecosystems are essential for sustainable development, poverty alleviation, and improved human well-being. It also stresses the need for cooperation, coordination, and synergies in works that are related to ecosystem restoration among relevant United Nations entities and upholds the UN Strategic Plan for forests to reverse the loss of forests worldwide through sustainable forest management. These serve as reminders for our agency to always strive to go beyond reforestation and aim to address bigger national issues. To a certain extent, this is already being undertaken or being addressed with the expanded National Greening Program as we prioritize the rehabilitation and reforestation of the 143 critical watersheds in the country, while taking into consideration features that will enhance the lives of Filipinos, such as enterprise development, investments in new plantations, and agroforestry. Tomorrow, we will also kick off the Forest Wellness Week, in which several wellness activities will be conducted to showcase urban green spaces as venues for improvement of well-being and healing. Finally, I hope that this would end up as an informative and enjoyable day for everyone. May this webinar give everyone an appreciation of the profound contribution of forests towards the resilience and recovery of our country. Maraming salamat po at isang makalikasang araw sa ating lahat.
Thank you so much, Assistant Secretary Amaro, for that, for our opening remarks here. And what a way to kick off the program. I'm pretty sure you guys are ready to learn already. Now, a reminder here, for this webinar, we'll be talking about the benefits of forests to well-being, experiences of Camp John Hay in implementing forest bathing, sustainable forest business and management, and we will learn about the different medicinal forest plants. So yan po yung mga topics na i-discuss sa atin at ituturo sa atin ang ating mga guest speakers maya-maya lamang. So, I encourage everybody, pretty sure lahat po kayo naka-ready na kayo, meron na kayong mga notebooks, notebooks and pens ready kasi marami po tayong pwedeng isulat, yung mga important points ng ating mga guest speakers, and also afterwards. And again, kung meron po kayong ma-pick out dun sa mga i-discuss ng ating mga guest speakers, you may also write down your questions and utilize our chat box right over here in Zoom and in the comment section on the Facebook Live. Mamaya-maya po, right after all of the speakers will be entertaining some of your questions. Probably the most important questions, we'll filter them out para po sa ating mga speakers, sasagutin po nila yan. Para malinawan din po tayong lahat dito. And without further ado, we are ready to start off with our first guest today. And, this is starting off in a big way already. Our first guest is, in fact, the director of the private Public Cooperation Division of Korea Forest Welfare Institute, which is located at Daejeon City in South Korea. Now, for him, he took his bachelor's degree in the forest environment at the Seoul National University, and he's also been a part of the Korea Green Promotion Agency coming from 2008 to 2016. Today, he will be introducing to us the forests of Korea and discuss their forest welfare policy for the benefit of human well-being. Napaka-importante, napaka-interesting. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome our first guest today. Welcome, Director Kyeong Hun.
Good morning, I'm Kyeong Hun, Coordination Team Director of Korea Forest Welfare Institute. First of all, I would like to extend my special thanks to officials of the Philippines Forest Government for inviting me to speak here today. I visited several times for investigating Philippine forest. At the time, I got very impressed by beautiful forest and nature of the Philippines. And it's my great honor to introduce the Korean forest for human well-being. There is a forest welfare policy regarding forest education, healing, recreation, culture. Next. My presentation consists of 3 parts. First, about forest in Korea. Second, forest policy for human well-being. And third, our future challenges. Next. Now, let me begin with the first part about forest in Korea. Next. First, I will briefly introduce about Korea. The Korean Peninsula is located in East Asia between China and Japan. The total landmass is about 10 million hectares. Korea has 4 distinct seasons. Next, Korea forests in the past were very dense until the 1910. However, the forest land was destroyed during and after the Japanese occupation and the Korean War. So the Korean government launched a forest rehabilitation project at the end of 1950. As a result, we were able to reverse the degraded forest to green land. And next, and we could achieve not only forest reforestation, but also economic growth. The left picture was taken in 1953, and the right picture shows the very same place, but in 2014. The whole nation and all the people joined with bare hands together to implement this reforestation. Thanks to the remarkable success, today, forests cover 63% of Korean land. And the growing stock is also increasing. The growing stock in 2014 was 146 cubic meters per hectare. Next, the value of Korea forest is largely divided into economic value and public value. The economic value of forest is about $8 billion US. Moreover, the public value reached $126 billion US in 2014. Now, let me move on to the vision of Korea forest policy. the Korean government established a vision to build up a sustainable green welfare nation. By managing our forests sustainably, our goal is to manage forest as home for work, for relaxation, and for life. To accomplish this goal, we have set 6 strategies. The 5th strategy is the forest policy for human well-being. We name it Forest Welfare Policy. Then I will tell you about Korea Forest Welfare Policy for human well-being. I guess that you are wondering what the forest welfare is about. Then we set the legal definition of forest welfare. It means economic, social, and emotional support for the improvement of people's well-being by providing forest welfare services for individuals and society. And the Korean government enacted Forest Welfare Promotion Act in 2015. In 2016, the Korea Forest Welfare Institute, my institute, was established. Next, I will introduce forest welfare services designed for each life cycle. We can call it G7 project, and the catchphrase is from cradle to grave life with forests. We provide different programs customized from G1 to G7. G means for generation. Then let's look into the G7 project step by step. First is for giving birth. Prenatal education in forest before giving birth. Therefore, we are operating forest prenatal programs to help pregnant women deliver healthier babies. Second is for early childhood. Forest kindergarten for early childhood. Recently, most of children go to kindergartens that are located in city in concrete building. Those children can be easily vulnerable to environmental disease like an atopic dermatitis, and there is a lack of total personality development in education. We operate forest kindergartens with a belief that forest is the best school. The third is for adolescents. Forest Education Center for Childhood and Adolescents. We usually operate those centers for elementary to high school students. In this period of life, a lot of adolescents get addicted easily to smartphone or internet, and some students experience school bullying and violence. One study found that their self-esteem increased and anxiety and depression levels decreased. So this can show positive effects of forest. Fourth is for early adulthood. Forest leisure program for early adulthood. They can get forest welfare services such as forest trails, mountain leisure sports. Currently, there are more people enjoying sports in the forest. For them, we offer forest activities like alpine skiing, camping, MTB, horseback riding, hang glider, and so on. Fifth is for mature adulthood. Recreational forest for mature adulthood. We began to create recreational forests from the end of 1980s. Now 180 recreational forests are in operation all over the world, all over the country. As you can see in the right graph, the number of visitors are in rise every year. The next is for late adulthood, forest healing service. Forest healing is the biggest and the most well-known forest welfare service. As you know, forest healing utilizes various environmental aspects including natural scents, sounds, and landscapes. Activities in forests can enhance our immune system and restore physical and mental health. For example, adults can relax and meditate in forest away from hectic life in the city. Forest healing is kind of recent concept. It's only been about 10 years that forest healing started to be known to us. We enacted the law to practice forest healing policy and made a forest healing instructor registration system. The National Forest Healing Center is a representative facility which was opened in 2016. This center stands on 2,889 hectare forests and have various facilities such as training center, accommodation, visitor center, a water therapy center, and forest trail. Lastly, is after death, a tree burial system after death. In order to protect our forests, we encourage people to hold an eco-friendly funeral. So we are promoting a new funeral service. It is that only bone powder is buried under a tree at tree burial forest. Until now, I explained from G1 to G7. Next, I will move on another forest welfare system. I will explain about how the forest welfare policy system works. Firstly, forest welfare experts. The purpose of fostering the experts in this field is to develop forest activity programs to maximize healing effects. There are 4 types of experts: forest interpreter, forest kindergarten, and forest trail instructor, and forest healing instructor. Currently, there are more than 24,000 forest welfare experts. Secondly, we have a forest welfare business registration system. This is a policy that systemizes forest welfare experts and supports them to start forest welfare related businesses based on forest policy. You can see the 4 business types and requirements in this chart. Lastly, I am proud to introduce Korea voucher for the forest welfare service. Normal citizens have easy access to the forest by themselves. However, vulnerable social groups such as the disabled, the underprivileged, low-income households have difficulty in gaining forest benefits. So we provide them vouchers so as to give them easier access to the forest welfare service. This voucher values about $90 per person. With this voucher, you can sleep, eat, and attend forest programs in our facilities. About 1 night, 2 days. This voucher card named Green Joy for Everyone. In 2020, 40,000 people are given the voucher card. Next is cooperation with other organizations. We cannot run these services all by ourselves without outside help. In order to maximize the most effective service, we are cooperating with concerned government departments, including Ministry of Education, Ministry of Justice. We also work together with private enterprises to provide forest welfare service for vulnerable social groups. We are also conducting researches to provide scientific evidences for developing policy programs and businesses on the forest welfare. For example, recently we researched a smart healthcare service with big data AI VR device. And this is last part of today's my presentation, our future challenges. As part of future directions, the Korea Forest Service established this institute specialized in forest welfare. Then let me move on to how my institute was organized and what we do. As I mentioned previously, the Korea Forest Welfare Institute was established in 2016 year based on Forest Welfare Promotion Act. This institute aims to promote forest welfare and makes contribution to quality of life and health and happiness of people. And we are providing diverse and well-organized forest welfare service. And we have 475 staff members operating 16 forest therapy and education facilities. The total budget is around 100 million US dollar. This slide shows the main tasks of our institute. As I explained, we also offer for forest welfare service voucher, and we have an education system for forest welfare experts. Last is management of green funds. It is from lottery fund. Next, let me remind you of environmental programs and social problems. In fact, modern medical science has tried to find effective measures. However, there is technical limitation. But there are positive signs we have seen through forests. We believe that forest holds a key solution to these environmental and social problems. That's why we are trying to manage and protect our forests to make good use as our relaxing place, living place, and working place. More importantly, global cooperation to solve these problems is very much needed. In this light, we recognize the need to develop an international cooperation and share information so as to provide more systematic forest welfare services. Thus, 4W will host international conference regarding forest welfare on this 25th and 26th October this year. I could send the details through Forest Government, DNR of the Philippines. I hope you have interest of this conference and participate in this. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. I hope my presentation could be helpful for you. Once again, I send my sincere appreciation for inviting me this webinar. Thank you.
Director Lee, thank you so much for that very informative talk. What a way to start for us here. We definitely can learn a lot from your experiences in Korea and some of the strategies that you have there. Thank you also. I think it's also important to emphasize on, the way you discuss the importance of forest and forest restoration, maintenance. I sure hope we can learn a lot from that and we can apply it here as well in the Philippines. And I would also like to thank you for the early invitation. We'll surely be there. Director Lee, thank you so much for the early invite and for it to be a part of your talk, to invite us there. Thank you so much as well. And the forest welfare policy, and again, it's certainly one of the best strategies we can also implement here in the country, especially during and after this time of the pandemic. So thank you so much, Director Lee, our first speaker today. But again, we are far from done. I hope you guys are keeping notes, keeping tab of everything that's happening here. And napaka-importante ng mga itunuro sa atin ni Director Lee. Kung meron po tayong tanong mamaya, ikasan nyo na yan. Later on, we'll be, again, opening the floor for your questions para masagot nila. Maya-maya po right after all of the guest speakers have taken the floor. And speaking of the speakers we will head on to our second one for this webinar. Now, our second speaker is a businessman and the president and CEO of John Hay Management Corporation. He manages Camp John Hay in Baguio City. Now, he will also introduce to us today the forest bathing trails in Camp John Hay and share with us their experiences in implementing forest bathing. So, without further ado, again, let's all welcome our second speaker for today, Mr. Allan Garcia.
Hi, good morning to each and everyone. Today I'll be speaking about the forest bathing trail in Baguio. But however, let me tell how I got introduced with this forest bathing. Way back in 2017, I don't even have an iota of understanding about forest bathing until I talked to the charming Miss Venus Tan and introduced me this. When I came to learn about this forest bathing, to tell you frankly, my enthusiasm and excitement surged exponentially because sabi nga, forest bathing. So, I took bathing literally. Kaya medyo na-excite ako until it was explained to me by Miss Tan, and well, my bearings reverted to their original positions, and well, I got to learn the real concept of forest bathing. Now, we can already start. Please, ma'am. Okay. Forest bathing is embedded or included in a single trail. But this trail has the eco trail, the yellow trail, the blue trail, and this forest bathing. Well, this forest bathing at Camp John Hay is a tie-up project of John Hay Management Corporation with the Department of Tourism CAR. The concept of forest bathing is a sustainable tourism activity at Camp John Hay. Next slide, please. Well, forest bathing was launched in June 29, 2018 by the JHMC and in collaboration with the DOT CAR at the entry point of the near the Liberty Loop. Those who are familiar with the Camp John Hay, there are so many ingresses in going to the trail, the forest bathing trail. One of which is the treetop adventure. It's called treetop adventure because of its unique, parang ano yan eh, parang yung yung nakasakay ka sa ano, yung where you nakasakay ka sa on a improvised chair na parang yung parang namamasyal above the forest. Well, the trail, the forest bathing trail uh, is uh, embedded in a almost 600 646 hectare uh, Janhei area, in which 52% of the forest area of Baguio is at Janhei. Ganyan po kalaki ang forest ng Janhei. What I mean by forest is the pine tree composition, and other trees, fruit bearing trees. We have the mulberry trees. We have some trees that bear coffee. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay, forest bathing was called this originated in Japan, where it's called can you show? I think it's Shorin Yoku yata in Japan. Forest bathing is ayan, Shinrin Yoku in Japan, where it originated. It's in the Shinrin forest. The meaning of Shinrin is forest, and the meaning of Yoku is bath. So it's not what you literally think the forest bathing is. It's a leisurely visit to a forest to cleanse and renew oneself with natural life force energy of the forest. Next slide, please. Well, the benefits. Let me imbibe to you the benefits of forest bathing. Forest bathing improves cardiovascular and metabolic health, decrease blood pressure, reduce anxiety, stress, depression, and anger. It boosts immune system. It gives you more energy and better sleep. It has mood boosting effects, decreased inflammation, internal inflammation. That's what I'm saying, internal inflammation. We have some inflammation in our bodies that we are not aware of. So forest bathing helps in the decrease of these inflammations. Clearer, more comfortable skin. So lalo po kayong gaganda at gugwapo if you engage in forest bathing activities. Soothing relief for sore muscles. Kasi, well, forest bathing, usually, it's situated in the middle of the Benguet pine trees, near what we call a stone of energy. And you can engage in so many disciplines in a particular space near that stone. You can do yoga, you can do meditation, and you can divest yourself with the negative feelings that are in store within you. So aside from these benefits, forest bathing is really recommended to all people of all ages. Next slide, please. How to do it in the forest? Well, as I've told you, there is this portion within the trail. A trail is it's like a vein, a single vein within the forest na magkakasama po, isa po yung trail na yan eh. Yun nga, sabi ko nga, we have the yellow trail, the blue trail, the eco trail. So, within that trail, andyan po yung forest bathing. So, how to do it in the forest? You just find a spot, engage all your senses, meditate, don't be in a hurry. You have to try different activities and appreciate the silence that the forest give to you. And you have to take advantage kasi napakatahimik po sa forest. So you have to take advantage of the serenity of the forest. Pasensya na po at maingay itong mga aso namin. Next slide, please. Well, these are what you see are the pine trees that within the 52% forest composition of Baguio City. Forest 52%, yeah. We have 52% of the whole forest of Baguio City, and we are proud to say also that what probably suits more a forest bathing activity is the fact that the forest of 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦 has the cleanest ambient air, maybe in the whole of Baguio or in the whole of the Philippines. That is one thing we are very proud of. And one thing, isa pa, what we are the proudest that we can claim is that forest bathing, it is only in 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗧 that forest bathing can be done. Next slide, please. Well, yan po yung mga forest bathing trail pledge, yung mga green color. Well, medyo ano yan, yung yellow, yan po ang forest, yan po ang trail. Yan po ang trail, and there are spots there where you can do your forest bathing activity. If you need assistance, we have forest guards that may be of help to each and everyone who is interested in trekking the trail. Well, yeah, okay. Those are the forest bathing trail. Well, yeah, the forest bathing trail. You sometimes sabi nga, if you have a partner which is not very intimate to you, and you want to hug her, but it's not allowed, you can just hug a pine tree. And pine trees emit negative ions kasi that are strong antioxidants that may help you improve your health. So next, please. Yeah, for the census. Well, this is the Pinus. Well, yan pala yung mga, that is the Pinus 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦, commonly called the Benguet pine tree. It is predominant species within 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦. approximately 95% of the tree species within 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦 consist of, well, 95% consists of this Benguet pine tree, and only about 5% are lesser known and of the miscellaneous species. Well, this is part of the trail, and I have to inform each and everyone that the trail is welcome to the public, but we try to control the entry of the visitors that try to trek the trail. Well, sometimes during a rainy weather, the trail becomes, well, perilous because it is no, it's slippery, and it's not so wide to give you ample space. But there are people who are very well, brave enough to bike inside this trail. Next slide, please. Well, the FD visitor is practically threading amidst a long, dense expanse of pine forested area with a dense vegetation of various kinds of shrubs and herb species under it. Well, you know, the pine trees inside 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦 are being offered for adoption. Pinapa-adapt po namin yan. Like for example, the past presidents, nag-a-adapt po sila ng pine tree with a minimum fee. Sa kanila po yung pine tree na yun, wherein we will put a kind of a marking that this tree has been adopted by this president. Ganito, I think President Ramos has adopted 3 pine trees or 2. Next, please. Well, along the trails, you can see signages. You can see signages. You can take note or read yourself to enjoy your strides. Next, please. Yan po. What you're seeing is the forested area of 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦 with different kinds of trees. It is a community of fern species that is common sight underneath the pine forests. Next slide, please. Yeah, that is the vein that has within it yung pong trail. That is the trail I'm talking. Next, please. These are the common species of pine tree, the pine trees, the Benguet pine trees. Thank you, and you may ask your questions after the presentation of all the resource persons. Thank you so much.
Mr. Garcia, thank you so much for that. A very informative presentation coming from Mr. Allan Garcia from Camp John Hay, and I think that is very timely na matutunan natin all about forest bathing because of everything that's happening right now. You know, we are experiencing extreme stress at times because of being, you know, isolated at home, or at least hindi tayo masyado nakakalabas every once in a while. Thank you so much for emphasizing on the importance of forest bathing, especially, you know, with reducing the levels of stress and anxiety. Once in a while, kailangan po nating lumabas. And of course, experience nature para din po sa ating well-being. And of course, syempre yung mga matagal nang hindi nakakapunta sa Camp John Hay, Mr. Allan Garcia, I'm sure ngayon mas motivated sila, mas inspired silang pumunta dyan. Once everything, of course, is safe already, especially in terms of travel. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Allan Garcia, our second speaker for today. All right. I hope you guys were taking notes. And again, as he mentioned earlier, the questions, you guys can ask that in a little bit, right after all of the speakers are done. And speaking of, let's, well, move on to our third speaker for today. This is also a big shot, by the way. She is the Vice President of MARSSE Tropical Timber. MARSSE Tropical Timber, if you guys aren't familiar with that, is a family-owned and operated tree farm, and Sustainably Made is the retail brand of wooden products that they run. Okay, before joining the family business, our third guest worked for almost a decade with Ogilvy. It is a very reputable advertising agency that caters to clients from different parts of the planet, an award-winning integrated creative network that makes brands matter for Fortune Global 500 companies, as well as local businesses across 131 offices in 83 countries as well. Without further ado, we have our third guest on hand. Take the floor. Let's all welcome Ms. Mara Sebastian to talk about sustainable forest business management. Ms. Mara, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and happy International Forest Day. Thank you for having me this morning. This morning, I will be talking about our sustainable tree farming and wood production business called Sustainably Made by MARSSE Tropical Timber. I'm now going to briefly talk about our company and our brand and our community that we support, as well as how we've been able to navigate through this pandemic. So as you've seen in the video presentation, MARSSE Tropical Timber is an almost 30-year-old sustainable tree farm here in the Philippines, which my family, my father actually started being an agroforestry industry professional for almost 2 decades as well. So what we do and who we are, our mission and vision, we really are tree farmers. We are committed to developing sustainable tree plantations that ensure a future where the need for wood is met in harmony with nature. So we have been awarded by the DENR Likas Yaman Award in Region 1 for being the most outstanding individual initiative in environmental protection. This was in 2011, and we were also awarded the most outstanding individual initiative in ecological and environmental enhancement in 2003. So these are the 4 things that we try to espouse in our business. The first one is we preserve the renewable hardwood resource by developing and managing tree plantations here in the Philippines. The second is we contribute to the health and ecological balance in the region and in the world. Existing vegetation and wildlife within the plantation is protected and maintained. Third, we provide local job opportunities and skills training on tree farming and wood manufacturing. And fourth, we advocate sustainable tree farming and conscious wood production and consumption by conducting sustainable tree farming seminars throughout the year. Moving on to my next slide. About our brand, Sustainably Made is a brand of wooden products. So we produce mostly kitchenware, home accessories, and furniture that's made from the trees that we grow in the tree farm. So sustainably made, the word sustainably made in our brand means that these wooden products are made from trees grown in a sustainable tree farm and not from natural growth trees from our already diminishing natural forests. So we make products from everything, from the roots to the trunk to the branches of the tree, so that no wood is wasted in our tree farm. Now, each wooden product is crafted, sanded, and finished by local rice farmers who we were able to give woodworking skills training to. And so this is our community and our social impact. MARSSE Tropical Timber works with the rice farmers of Umingan, Pangasinan. They continue working as rice farmers throughout the year because that is their main skill and a significant source of their income. But also in order to continue food productivity in their land, we don't stop them from being rice farmers. But for majority of the year, when they are not planting rice or when they're not harvesting rice, they come work for us at our tree farm workshop. So working at the tree farm and the woodwork workshop during the lean non-planting and non-harvesting months, these tree farmers or these rice farmers are able to have income for the entire year, but also they are able to learn new farming and new technical and vocational skills, from tree farming, maintenance, harvesting to wood crafting. In fact, MARSSE Tropical Timber is a Department of Science and Technology Set-up Adapters Program awardee for wood processing machines and training. If you can see the numbers that's on the screen right now, this is really what we call sustainable tree farming and wood production. Out of the 124,000 trees that we've planted since we started in 1992, only 1,400 of these trees were harvested and made into wooden products since we started our retail brand in 2012. So that's only about 1.1% of the farmed trees were sustainably harvested and produced into wooden products. Okay, moving on to my next slide. Okay. Apart from the local community of rice farmers, we also try to go bigger in the Philippines. We were one of the founding members of the Sustainable Tree Farmers Group in the Philippines, whose vision is really to have a developed tree farming industry in the Philippines. And also we are trying to prepare the members of the association for global FSC or Forest Stewardship Council certification and to promote fair prices in the local tree farming industry. We also try to expand our sharing of knowledge and our advocacy to the general public. We worked with the Forest Foundation of the Philippines, and they were able to publish a book called Sustainable Tree Farming Guidebook from the experiences of our company, MARSSE Tropical Timber, and of the Sustainable Tree Farmers Group of the Philippines. So this guidebook will hopefully be an accessible tool that will help interested idle landowners and local farmers to develop their own sustainable tree farms all over the Philippines. You can download this book for free. The link is on the screen. And if you can't click on it right now, obviously you can just visit the Forest Foundation of the Philippines website, and the book is readily available there. Okay, moving on, now that we've introduced our company and our brand, I will be talking about how we were able to navigate our business amidst this current pandemic that we are all in. So first of all, we are people before profit. These are the measures that we undertook to be able to support our tree farm workers. So people come first. During the enhanced community quarantine and the modified enhanced community quarantine, our farm workers were quarantined in their own homes, and we had to temporarily stop operations as work from home is not an ideal setup for an industry like ours. Our workers weren't able to take home our heavy equipment to be able to produce the products in their homes, so we had to make the hard and difficult decision to close shop during ECQ and MECQ, but still continue to support our tree farm workers. Safety is also a top priority during this time. We adhere to social distancing and safety protocols at the tree farm workshop. So this was already when we were able to reopen our business during the general community quarantine and in the modified general community quarantine. In our workshop, we practiced all safety protocols. And the most important thing I think that we did was we decided not to participate in any of the live selling events like the bazaars and the trade fairs that we normally join. This was very difficult for us because those were the main sources of income, the live selling events, and having to not do them is really a big step where we had to pivot our products to be able to, not only our products, but also our way of doing business and be able to have cash coming in and to earn money. So in terms of the products, what we did was we had to listen to our consumers by keeping our communication lines open through Facebook and through Instagram. We hyped up our online presence by constantly posting products, new products that we were coming out with, and how we are able to do sales online. Because we needed to listen to our customers and we needed to ask them, what do you need during this time of the pandemic? And that is from the consumers' mouths and their needs and their wants. We pivoted and produced products that are very specific to the needs of the pandemic, especially for those who are working from home, studying from home, learning new skills from home like baking and cooking, redesigning the home to make it a more comfortable and inviting space where people spend now most of their hours and their days. So as you can see in the slide, we came up with products like mobile laptop tables, study desks and chairs, and also things that people have found, time in terms of making their home a more inviting and a more beautiful place to spend 24/7. So you have dining tables and buffet tables. So we kind of switched from producing kitchenware and home accessories into more furnishing. So now, as I mentioned earlier, we weren't able to do any of our live selling events, and we still are not doing any of those. So what we did was we really invested our money into developing our own website. So if you have time, please visit www.sustainably-made.com, where we talk about not just our products, we also talk about our tree farm and our advocacy of sustainability in our country's wooden resource. As I mentioned earlier, we also ramped up our social media interaction with our customers through Instagram and through Facebook. And believe it or not, we were able to survive this pandemic all through online sales. Sales coming from Instagram, sales coming from Facebook, sales coming from our websites, but also sales coming from our retail partners whose online platforms we participated in as well. So that's it for me, talking about our sustainable tree farming business, MARSSE Tropical Timber, and our retail brand of wooden products, Sustainably Made, and how we've been able to navigate through this pandemic times. Thank you for having me. And I'll take your questions at the end of the fourth speaker.
Ms. Sebastian, thank you so much for that very insightful, very informative presentation. Thank you so much, Ms. Mara Sebastian, once again, coming from MARSSE, for introducing to us, the concept of your business and, of course, the advocacy that you guys are actually catering to. And especially during the time of the pandemic, supporting our local tree farmers. And of course, it's also important that we heard earlier that they are prioritizing safety protocols as they do their business. So with this, I would like to invite everybody, of course, to please support the products of MARSSE Sustainably Made. You saw the products earlier. Oh my goodness, those are quality products. Those are very stylish products that you guys can use at home as well. So please support them. And of course, para po, maganda yung narinig natin na nakasustain sila amidst the pandemic yung business nila sa online business. Linipat nila online sa online platform. And we're very happy to hear that they were able to last and thrive during the pandemic as well. So if you guys are wondering, we'll be checking out their website and of course their products in a little bit. And of course, questions will be asked kay Miss Mara mamaya po sa pagkatapos ng lahat ng speakers natin for this webinar. And speaking of all of the speakers, that is our third speaker, it means we are down to our last one today. But we are not going out, without a bang, because our next speaker, is from the DOH, Philippine Institute of Traditional and Alternative Healthcare, or more popularly known as PTAC. She is a Special Operations Officer performing initial assessment of research proposals requesting for funding grants from PTAC. And as part of her work, she is the representative of her agency for meetings involving the environment, biodiversity, and traditional knowledge on health of Filipino indigenous communities. So kaya po siya nandito. That is her expertise. Siya po magdi-discuss sa atin, all about what they do there in PTAC. And she also represents the Philippines as a resource speaker to the ASEAN Health Wisdom Conference. Now, today, she will discuss again the different medicinal forest plants. So I'll welcome our last speaker for our webinar, coming from PTAC. We'll take the floor, Miss Maria Teresa Torres. Hello, Miss Torres.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, is my audio clear?
Yeah, it is. It's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. So, good morning again to our participants. I would like to thank the Forest Management Bureau for this opportunity of inviting our office to share information on traditional medicine. So my presentation is entitled The Role of Philippine Traditional Medicine Research on Forest Restoration. So my next slide please. My presentation includes the following. Okay. Next slide please. So I'd like to give a brief introduction about our office and our mandate in health and as a research institution. So, sorry, yes, previous slide, please. Sorry. Second, okay. So, our office is a government-owned controlled corporation and an attached agency to the Department of Health. We are created under the Republic Act number 8423 or the Traditional and Alternative Medicine Act. So I'd like to go back again to my presentation outline. So I'd like to introduce our office, our vision, and our mandate as a research institution. I'll also present some programs, activities, and projects related to the documentation of Philippine traditional medicine and why it's important to conduct research on PTM. And lastly, I'd like to connect this to its role on forest restoration. Okay. So next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, our office is a GOCC, an attached agency by the Department of Health. And our vision and mission are the following. Next slide. So our vision is people's health through traditional and preventive healthcare. And we lead in the research and development, promotion and advocacy, and development of standards on traditional and complementary medicine. And we ensure its accessibility, availability, sustainability, and integration into the national healthcare system. So we primarily conduct, coordinate, and manage. Hello? Okay. Clear na po ba yung audio? Sorry. Hello? Okay. So we primarily conduct coordinate and manage research studies on TNCM policies, products, services, and technologies, develop standards for specific TNCM practices, manage knowledge and information for the promotion and utilization of TNCM products, services, and technologies. Next slide, please. So these are some of the research clusters that our office is prioritizing for the grant of researches. So these are the researches include Philippine traditional medicine, natural products research, traditional and complementary modalities research, and researches on policy systems and standards, social-cultural, and knowledge management research. Okay, next slide, please. So, PTM research involves the documentation of traditional knowledge systems and practices in health, disease, and healing, not only of our indigenous peoples, but also other cultural communities. So we also look into the sacred healing places and how these are essential to the well-being of these communities. And then part of the knowledge management and advocacy is the development of a traditional knowledge and digital library for the information gathered from these researchers and making them available to the public. Okay, next slide. So here are some of the programs, activities, and projects on the documentation of Philippine traditional medicine research that was funded by our office. Next, please. Next slide, please. Hello. Next slide. Okay. So one of the output of these sorry. Can we go back to slide 8? Hello. Okay, thank you. So one of the output of these documentation activities is the development of IEC materials that can be used by the community. So it has become a means of passing down knowledge to the next generation. So we have the IWAC, the documentation of Philippine traditional knowledge and practices on health, and development of traditional knowledge digital library on health of the IWAC and 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦 of 𝗪𝗘𝗕𝗜𝗏, and 𝗙𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗏 and Bukalod of 𝗪𝗘𝗕𝗏. Next, please. So we also have the Yogads, Itaúes, and Paranas of Isabela, the Aita peoples of West Luzon Mountain Range, and the selected cultural communities in Mindanao. Next, please. So we have here some photos of the different sacred healing places in Luzon. So the pictures here were from field studies made in Mount Arayat, Mount Manali, and Mount Banahaw. So we are also currently conducting research on the sacred healing places of selected sacred healing places in Mindanao. Next slide, please. So I have here some screenshots of the traditional knowledge digital library. Okay, so first we have the development of a traditional and alternative healers catalog for the provinces of Batangas. So the different from the provinces of Batangas and Laguna. So we documented the traditional and alternative healers from that area. And then we also have some screenshots here from the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. So here is a list of the studies that were either funded by ECHRD, UP Manila, or 𝗙𝗢𝗥. So the site is co-funded and co-managed by these three agencies. So there's also a list of plants that were used in the different studies, as well as the healing practices involved. Okay. So you may try accessing the digital library later. That's at tkdlph.com. So next slide. Why is Philippine traditional medicine research important? Maybe we can ask our participants to type in their answer why they think PTM research is important. And then we can check maybe the chat box. Hello? Okay. So maybe we can ask the participants why they think PTM research is important. Meron po ba tayong we have answers from our participants. Okay, for the preservation of the rich genetic resources. Sige po. Okay, so we will move on. Thank you for the answer. So in order to verify if this traditional knowledge can be used and integrated into modern medicine. Wow, that's a very nice answer. Okay, so why is PTM research important? So in the view of health, our first reason is for the preservation and protection of traditional knowledge. So I'd like to share with you a short quote from the former Secretary of Health, Dr. 𝗪𝗘𝗟𝗡𝗦𝗦, and medical anthropologist, Dr. Gideon Lasco, in their work, An Anthology of Filipino Traditional Healers. So the healers and their art is a tapestry of the community's values, beliefs, natural resources, and communal experiences in illness and health, passed on from generation to generation, requiring the utmost devotion. So that this is very, very inspiring quote. So next slide, please. So one of the earliest documentation projects funded by 𝗙𝗢𝗥 was that of the Palawan people of Mount Domadoy, Palawan. So the book was published and relaunched with the Palawan community. So the teachers of the nearby schools and local officials were invited. The community also came down from the mountain to attend the relaunching. So we have here a Palawan indigenous healer, one of the key informants, signing his name in Palawan by Bali. So he is estimated to be at least 100 years old. So on the book, he also wrote in Palawan script Next slide, please. True medicine of the Palawan people. So I can recall one of the teachers who attended the relaunching saying, "Ma'am, may ganitong project po pala kayo. Maganda po ito kasi pwede namin maituro sa mga bata." And then one of the key informants also said, "Ma'am, magagamit namin ito para i-present sa mayor at matigil yung illegal logging dyan sa bundok." So we can see here the importance of preserving and protecting traditional knowledge. So you transfer the knowledge to the next generation, and then it became a tool for them to take action on the degradation of ecosystems in the area. Okay, next slide, please. So we have here some data from the documentation of Aita people of the West Luzon Mountain Range. So this data is from 2 sitios in Tarlac. So out of a total population of 5,800, there are 1,440 members from the indigenous peoples. Out of that, there are only 4 healers. So which means that there are only 4 persons who have the wealth of knowledge of at least 50 medicinal plants. So this is why we need to document. Otherwise, it is possible to lose both resources, the knowledge and the flora. Next slide, please. So second is its contribution to public health. Now, it is a known fact, next slide please, that health services are inaccessible to many areas in the country. And so our brothers and sisters will seek the services of their local healers. So through Philippine traditional medicine research, we want to be able to provide communities with culturally acceptable healthcare services and educational materials. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. Okay, so here are some examples of the educational materials that we have published. The patnubay sa paggamit ng halamang gamot. And then we have right now 2 volumes of the Encyclopedia of Common Medicinal Plants in the Philippines. So when we go to the local government units, we hold orientations on how to use this plant. So we usually use the patnubay sa paggamit ng halamang gamot. Okay. Next slide, please. So we also conduct researches where community-based preparations and practices are tested for their safety and efficacy. So one example is the plant makabuhay. So this is a very common plant in the Philippines and commonly used for the treatment of scabies and lice or kuto. So there are also some traditional uses which involve orally taking the decoction of the plant, which according to our research is not recommended. So it may pose as it may be dangerous for the liver, and it also has abortifacient properties. So if you are pregnant, this is not recommended for you to take. So this is one of the reasons why we conduct Philippine traditional medicine research, also to make sure that these practices are safe and effective. Okay, next slide, please. Next is that the TTM research is very helpful in terms of herbal medicine and traditional use herbal medicine development. Next slide. Okay. So there are two classifications of herbal products in the country in terms of registration. We have the herbal medicine, where the plant has been clinically proven to be therapeutic. And then we also have traditionally used herbal medicine, where the plant has been documented to be traditionally used for more than 50 years. So we have examples of the herbal medicine, which are therapeutic, like lagundi, sanggong, 𝗙𝗪𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦, whereas examples of traditionally used herbal medicine commonly used would be Acapulco, 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦, and bayabas. So the main difference is that one is clinically proven, the other documented for traditional use for more than 50 years. So next slide. So I have here a list of medicinal plants used by the Yogads, the 𝗙𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦, and Paranas of Isabela. So marami siya, no? The different, you can see the different uses for the different ailments. Okay. So maybe we can skip to slide 27, please, so that I will proceed to the medicinal trees, or trees with medicinal properties. So the following slides will be some medicinal tree species. Please note that the uses indicated have yet to be scientifically validated. So there are, okay, so we have the kainito. So it is commonly used by the Yogads for diarrhea. So the leaves are used as a decoction. So, okay, next slide, please. We have kahoy dalaga, or Musenda philippica. So this is the leaves are used for asthma or hika. Excuse me. For the itaúes, the use of bignay has many medicinal properties. So mainly they use it for hypertension, or what they call 𝗪𝗛𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦. So they have in their local dialect what they call in their local dialect hypertension, for fever and chills and stomach ache. Okay? So they primarily use the leaves and the bark. Next is balimbing. So aside from as food, they use the leaves for chickenpox or buluto. For bathing, so they boil 2 handfuls of leaves in a liter of water. So they use it for bathing. Next, we have Ficus septica or liliw. The Paranans use it for supon or unseen spirits and fever. So the leaves are placed in the forehead with salt and oil. Another is kapok. So the Yogads use it for boils. So they wash and crush 2 pieces of leaves and apply it along the sides of the boil. Okay. And then we have santol. So the santol leaves, the Yogads use the leaves for epilepsy and as postpartum care, or postpartum bath. And then for fever and chill. Also the leaves and the bark. So they drink the decoction. Okay, next please. So we have here the medicinal trees used by the 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗦. So they use bugnay or bignay for diabetes and high blood pressure. No? So they boil the bark or the leaves and then taken orally for the diabetes, and then for high blood, same also for high blood pressure. And then mayaba or bayabas, Psyllium guava. So the leaves are used for the treatment of diarrhea. So there is actually promising, there are promising clinical data on the use of guava for diarrhea. So one clinical data involves for rotaviral enteritis in infants, and then the other is for acute diarrhea. So this has been scientifically validated. Next slide, please. We have the mayabano or guyabano, Annona muricata. So they use this for dysentery. No? So they use the leaves. So you would be surprised, no? Alam nila, they know if it's the difference between dysentery or just a simple diarrhea. So they have their ways of determining the illness. Okay. So the leaves are used. And then the next is palay or Alstonia scolaris, or what we also call dita. So this is used also for loose bowel movement. So they use the bark, the decoction of the bark. Okay, next slide, please. So we have Ficus nota or TB. So they use the roots for cough and sabi nga nila husky voice. No? Okay. So actually it's not really the decoction of the roots, but the water that drips from the roots that is being used for the cough. Okay, next slide. Of course, duhat, and then for LBM, so I'll just scan this, no? You have the dita again for LBM, saling for the toothache, saling or pine tree, and then you have the kainito for UTI. Okay, next slide. So what is the role of PTM researches on forest on reforestation, forest restoration rather, sorry, on forest restoration. Okay, next slide. Forest restoration. So the concept of health and illness among the practitioners of traditional medicine is that it is a gift or property to treasure and sustain life. That life is health and health is life, and that a healthy body is one that has good stamina and is free from illness or sickness. Next slide. So they also see health as a balance between one's relationship with his or her body and mind, social and spiritual, and the environment. So when there is an imbalance, that is when an illness or sickness occurs. So for example, a person living in an unclean environment can be a cause for illness. So if there's an imbalance in any of these aspects, illness will surely occur. So I have here a cartoon which is very significant for our time today. Next slide, please.
But thank you in advance.
Okay. So, we have the pandemic, the different virus, the viri, the different illnesses, coming out because of damaged ecosystems. So, um, going back to the question of the role of PTM researches on forest restoration. Sige, next slide, please. So PTM researches provide a bird's eye view of the degraded ecosystems, the negative impacts of product systems such as farming or poultry, and the negative impacts of cities, of resource extraction and transport, and where education, communication, and outreach can increase awareness of the importance of ecosystem goods and services. So this will be my last slide. So the forest restoration and human health link. First, they serve as protection from natural resources, from natural disasters rather, because when natural disasters occur, diseases also occur. So, for example, overcrowding in shelters. This is a breeding ground for sanitation-related diseases. And then, of course, the protection of traditional knowledge and health. Forest restoration can also reduce the disease incidence or emerging infections. So, one of the mechanisms that forests protect us from emerging infections is by diluting the zoonotic and vector-transmitted diseases. So, without the forest and the biodiversity of the animal species in the forest, so humans will be more susceptible to diseases. And then, as I mentioned before, they are important sources of medicines. They are important sources of medicines. No? So we need to protect the forests because of these four major reasons. No? At least from the health perspective. So I hope I was able to contribute to this talk, and I would like to give credit first to the Isabela State University, Nueva Vizcaya State University, UP Manila, Health Futures Foundation, and the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples for making these researches possible. So that ends my presentation, and thanks.
Thank you so much to our last speaker. That was Miss Maria Teresa Torres coming from PTAC. And again, thank you so much as well to all of our speakers. I think from Miss Torres, aside from taking us through the different medicinal forest plants, it also helped us appreciate how blessed we are, as a country, as citizens of the Philippines, kasi meron tayo nitong lahat. And I also hope that it encourages and it inspires us to, not take them for granted and take care of them in the long run. Maraming salamat ulit po sa lahat ng speakers natin today. We had 4 of them today. First one, we had Director Lee discussing to us the forests of Korea and the benefits of forest to well-being. We also had Mr. Garcia, Mr. Allan Garcia, talking to us about forest bathing in Camp John Hay. And third one, we had Ms. Mara Sebastian discussing sustainable forest business and for forest and management. There you go. Coming from MARSSE. And last, of course, Ms. Maria Teresa Torres with a discussion of different medicinal forest plants. But as promised, all of those speakers will have the opportunity to answer some of your questions here. So at this point, I would like to request all of our speakers to please turn on your cameras and unmute yourselves, because in a bit we'll be doing our question and answer portion. We'll be opening the floor to your questions. Okay. I think Sir Allan and Director Lee is ready. Miss Maria is here. Miss Maria, can you open your cam again? Miss Maria Teresa Torres. Okay, let's wait for Ms. Torres. But again, thank you so much for joining us here. I hope you are taking notes, especially with everything that's been discussed today. We had a lot of discussion today. So please, at papatuloy po yan sa question and answer portion natin. So please do, don't stop taking notes. Okay, Ms. Torres is not yet here, but let's head on to the first question. Still, para maintay natin while waiting for Ms. Torres. Okay, first question of our Q&A goes out to, let's have Mr. Allan Garcia first. Okay, Sir Allan, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Here's a very interesting question for you. In your learned opinion, how often should one do the forest bathing? Para sa ating lahat. And may mga follow-up din na, is forest bathing advisable for all ages? And the CGH offer, or Camp John Hay offers different trail program for different age groups and sizes.
Well, in my opinion, there is really no limit on
every day, sir, pwede.
Yeah, on how many times you would engage in forest bathing. Like, for example, if you feel like unwinding yourself, you may go to the trail, to the forest bathing trail, and then you may even shout as loud as you can, just to release what you want to release inside of you, and to relieve yourself of some stress. So I don't see I can see any limitation on how often you can do the forest, the activities you want to indulge with, like for example meditation, yoga, especially those two disciplines in which you don't have to exert so much effort in doing so. So, well, there is no there's no limitation, Mr. Martin.
How about, sir, specific programs in Camp John Hay para sa iba-ibang ages natin? Because obviously, pwedeng mag-start siguro kay bata pa lang, matutunan nila to ng konti hanggang sa, sa mga seniors natin, pwede rin nilang gawin yan. Meron ba tayong mga programs na, offer sa CJH?
As of now, we don't have any specific programs pertaining to those who want to practice forest bathing. But our business development department is looking into or crafting a program that is suitable to all ages.
Correct.
More importantly, those who really need this forest bathing. It is really a work in progress.
Okay, that's great news for all of us, sir. And again, a lot of us here can't wait to visit Baguio City.
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, and everybody's welcome to visit, of course, Camp John Hay. Once, of course, the restrictions are lifted and it is safe to travel again. Thank you, Sir Allan. Okay, well, we're not done with you. I'll go back to you with another question later on. Next one goes out to Director Lee. Hello, sir. How are you, Director? Hello. Okay. Sir, is your audio fine? Can you speak to us? Okay. Can't seem. Is Director muted? Let's take a look at. the audio level here. Hello, Director Lee? Okay, he hears me, but I can't hear Director Lee. Okay, Director Lee, I'll go back to you in a little bit, but now let's go to Ms. Mara Sebastian. Let's go back to Director Lee later for his question. For Ms. Mara, coming from MARSSE, you discussed very important points earlier with regards to your business, but question here is, what do you think is the importance of patronizing sustainably produced wood products here in the country, given that you're in that business yourself?
Well, really, it's all about consumers' mindset. You know, when you purchase a wooden product, do you ask the seller, where does this wooden product come from, or where does the wood that this wooden product was produced come from? And if that seller can't answer you straight in the face and confidently, then most likely than not, they don't know where the wooden product comes from. And that's where the problem lies, because what we're trying to do, one of the advocacies of our business is really to try to convince people to be more mindful about purchasing wooden products and asking that question, where does the wooden product come from? Because we can confidently answer you that the wooden products that we produce come from sustainably farmed trees, because they're coming from our own backyard,
right,
not from our already diminishing natural forest. And that last part of what I said is what is really the most important, because a lot of wooden products out there still come from unfarmed wooden sources. So basically, they're coming from our natural forest. And we as consumers would like to be able to help our government in their reforestation efforts by trying not to touch our natural forests at the moment. You know, allow our natural forests and the government's response to its denudation to flourish. Let our forests grow for the next 2, 3, 4 decades, 5 decades. It does take that long for our forests to recover. And so that is why part of our advocacy is to really convince our consumers to be mindful in purchasing wooden products, and to ask that question, where does the wooden product come from? And to make sure that they are purchasing wooden products from not just sustainably farmed wood, but from other sustainable sources of wood as well. You have reclaimed wood, you know, and all these other sources that they can purchase from.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sebastian. Nakakagana supportahan yung mga ganyang klaseng companies. Of course, they don't add to the degradation of the forest. They plant their own, they get the wood from there. So maraming salamat po, Ms. Sebastian, for that important part. Again, MARSSE, that's a very important aspect of what they do there in MARSSE. And again, yung pangalan ng produkto nila, sustainably made, speaks for itself already. There we go. Thank you so much, Ms. Sebastian. I have another one for you in a little bit, but let's go back to Director Lee. Hello, Director. Are you there? Oh my goodness, I still can't hear Director Lee. Still no audio. Sir, I think, there you go. There you go.
It's okay?
It's okay, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
The audio just registered. Okay, Director Lee, much awaited question for you. Here we go. Okay. You discussed to us a lot of things. You introduced us to the different strategies applied by Korea, especially with its forests. But for last year, 2020, going this year, 2021, in line with the global pandemic situation that we are experiencing right now, are there any changes, or were there any changes last year in the number of people who avail of the forest welfare services? And in addition, are there any restrictions applied in the operation of welfare services due to our pandemic?
Yeah, actually, due to the pandemic, lots of facilities are shut down temporarily. It was very hard time for the people and the workers in this area. However, the crisis could be a great chance to us. I think more people are interested in the nature and forest activities. And we are developing unpacked programs. We are using AR, IT technology, and we also delivering program kits individually. So many people still enjoy forest welfare service now.
Wow, still a lot of people, sir.
Yes.
I like also how you have adopted, sir, with the times and the conditions of everything here. So, and again, sir, can you mention to us again the restrictions applied in the operation of the welfare services? What were some of the, initiatives that you guys did to cater to our global situation? What were the adjustments on your end?
So before pandemic, we just service face to face. But after the pandemic, we are developing unpacked program without face to face. So we're making a program kit in a box. In a box, we're making a program things. In box, there is a mushroom and some wood toy. So we are delivering that kit to the house individually, so they can making some programs with their family. They enjoy the kit with their family. So it's a little bit different kind of forest service program, but they still feel the program and they still enjoy program. Yes.
That's a great initiative, Director Lee. Thank you so much for that. And again, everything that's been happening, the global situation, it forces us to really adapt to the current situation, to the times. And that's a good point that you raised earlier. Despite not having physical contact, despite not experiencing it yourself by actually going there, when you send those packages with all of the essential things there, it gives them, the first-hand experience still of what you have to offer. So thank you so much for that, Director Lee. All right. For our fourth question, this one comes to, going to rather. Of course, Miss Maria Teresa Torres. Hi, Miss Teresa. Hello, how are you, ma'am? Okay. Okay, we got a question here. Now, based on your research on the different medicinal forest plants, is herbal medicine safe? Is herbal medicine, and to add, is it really effective? Is it, should it be more prescribed for everyone?
So we always tell the public to use herbal medicine with caution and in moderation, most especially for plants with unknown activities. So anything orally taken other than as food must be taken with caution and in moderation. So we always advise the public to please read about the toxicity of the plants in, for example, scientific journals. And also there are some households develop home-based decoctions, etc. So we always advise to take it with caution and moderation, to read scientific journals. And for example, for home-based ophthalmic solutions, mga patak-patak sa mata, no? So we do not recommend them as the eyes are very prone to infection. So big no-no yung mga home-based na ophthalmic solutions. So other than that, yung mga teas and as food in moderation.
Now, this is very important to discuss. Thank you so much for that, Miss Maria Teresa Torres. Very important to discuss because a lot of people are scared to try, traditional medicine and often go to herbal medicine. So it gives you the idea on the limit that you should impose when you are into trying herbal medicine as well? But just an additional question, Miss Teresa, in your experience, are there people who prefer more herbal medicines than traditional medicine?
There are actually, but for example, there are some those who inquire at our office. No, they take this particular herb, etc. So we look into the literature of these herbs. So and then we advise them about the toxicity, how to take it, etc. So um, yun. So, very important talaga to read the toxicity of the plants, no? Before taking the decoctions, for example. So, if they do find if they are hesitant in taking herbal medicine, for example, they cannot go to the hospital, or they cannot access the hospital or the clinics, etc. So they can call our office so that we can check also the plants that they are planning to use. We can also advise them. No? So actually, during the last year in the height of the pandemic, we have a lot of people calling our office. Ma'am, is this plant good for um, similar symptoms to the COVID? Is this plant good, etc.
Ah.
So we actually give them advice na, ma'am, please don't use this plant. It's toxic for the liver. Use this instead to alleviate, for example, cough or colds. So something like that. No? So they can call our office or they can email us so that we can give them advice on how to properly take these herbal medicines or traditionally used herbal medicines.
That's very important also, Ms. Torres, especially with our times today. We are looking for all sorts of medication to add a layer of protection to protect yourselves, of course, in this global situation. So you know what to do. Kung nakapag-research kayo, if you encounter an herbal medicine and you're not sure of taking it, learn more about it, learn all about it. Actually, first, tumawag kayo sa PTAC for more information before taking those herbal medicines. Thank you so much, Ms. Torres. Thank you. Okay, next one we go back to Sir Allan Garcia, sir. And question for Sir Allan here. What are the other places in the country that are practicing forest bathing? And from a businessman's perspective, this came from the chat box, by the way. From a businessman's perspective, what do you think businesses, corporations, or big companies have been doing wrong when it comes to managing forested areas in the name of development? That's a very heavy question, sir, but you're most capable of answering this one.
Martin, we really take pride in claiming that as of now, the only forest bathing site that was launched in the Philippines is in Camp John A.
Wow.
And I'd like to take this opportunity to invite all those living in Dakar to please take advantage of the opportunity that is just within your reach. And please visit the forest bathing site.
Sir, in addition here, may question pa siyang isa. For in your experience lang as a leader of a huge company, corporation, for the businesses, may mga businesses kasi corporations na ginagawa rin to with regards to managing forested areas. Okay. What have they been doing wrong? Ano yung mga common mistakes nila when it comes to managing forested areas in the name of development?
Now, for the second question, from a businessman's point of view, well, in exchange of trying to gain so much revenue, well, businessmen, or business people,
Mhm.
tend to forget, or to put it bluntly, neglect the environment. Most of the time, large companies leave carbon footprint. They tend to forget how important it is to rehabilitate the forest and protect the environment where we actually get our resources in maintaining our daily lives and even our businesses. That is why we at John Hay Management Corporation, uh, we extend our best efforts in protecting and preserving the environment. We have our EMS, Environmental Management System, to help us standardize our commitment in saving the forested area. This EMS is headed by Miss Engineer 𝗙𝗙𝗦𝗧. As we have several environmental awareness and campaign activities such as tree planting, cleanup drives, and Adopt a Tree program. We have these activities regularly scheduled. So at least in a couple of times in a year, we do these activities. We really are, well, Camp Janghey is really a forest rehabilitation and protected trust corporation. We really intend to protect our, as I've said, we have 52% of the forested area of the whole of Baguio. Now we have also the adapted trees. Now, Martin, may I invite those who are interested to join these activities. Please don't hesitate to do so, and let it be a part of your itinerary. Anyway, it's just a matter of siguro an hour or two in a drive, and we really welcome your contribution in protecting and rehabilitating our forests. And you may take pride that in claiming that you were one of those who contributed in the preservation of the forest. And that's my second answer to the second question.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Allan Garcia. And again, thank you for elaborating that. And again, guys, kung wala kayong kung pwede na lahat, kung lifted na yung restrictions natin dito, do not hesitate, visit Camp Johnny, and of course, try forest bathing once in a while to relieve stress and anxiety as well. And I would like to thank first all of the speakers for joining us today. That wraps up, by the way, our Q&A portion here. Thank you so much, Director Lee. Thank you so much, Ms. Teresa. Thank you so much, Ms. Mara. And thank you so much, Sir Allan Garcia, for gracing us with your presence and, of course, taking the opportunity as well to answer all of the questions here, discussing all of those things, very important things on the International Day of Forests. So thank you so much to all of our speakers for joining us here today. Maraming salamat po. And you guys can also express your gratitude. Yan, Sir Allan, thank you, thank you. And you guys can also express your gratitude to our speakers here via the chat box and, of course, the comment section on our Facebook Live. There you go. A lot of topics discussed today here on our webinar on the International Day of Forests. But before we end, and we're not yet done though, before we end, let's take a minute first to watch a video of where the management, or where the Forest Management Bureau rather, will take you for the rest of the week as they host 4 wellness activities in different parks in Metro Manila, still in celebration again of IDF 2021. Watch this. There you go. Thank you so much. Again, to the Forest Management Bureau. That's going to be happening rather all throughout the week. We are inviting everybody to join the Forest Wellness Week starting tomorrow at 7 a.m. Let's try and experience yoga, HIIT if you are into working out, shadow karate. We have shadow karate and Zumba at the comfort of our homes. And again, it's such a privilege for all of us here. We're very fortunate because all of these events are free and open to all. You guys may register at the link that is flashed on your screens right now. Register there. We'll also be posting it elsewhere. And for happening all throughout the week in celebration of IDF 2021, it is going to be the Wellness Week starting tomorrow once again at 7 a.m. So that is a wrap for us here at our webinar entitled Forest Restoration, A Path to Recovery and Well-Being. We would like to thank everyone. Thank you so much for taking some time out this morning up until almost lunchtime for joining us today on Zoom and on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you for celebrating the International Day of Forest 2021 with us. Thank you to all of our speakers today, Director Lee, Sir Allan, Ms. Mara, Ms. Teresa, and of course the entire Forest Management Bureau. Thank you so much for organizing this, putting this all together. And speaking of FMB, for more information about the initiatives of FMB, don't forget to visit the Forest Management Bureau's website at www.forestry.denr.gov.ph, or you guys can follow their Facebook page as well at facebook.com/DENRFMB and their Instagram account at DENR.FMB. Also, if you guys want to explore other activities happening around the world, visit www.fao.org/international/day/of/forest/en and or use the power of hashtags. It's hashtag for our event. It's hashtag IDF 2021 and follow international or hashtag INTL Forest Day tweets as well. If you guys want to know what's happening in the entire planet. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you guys have a fantastic week ahead. My name is 𝗪𝗘𝗦𝗧, and this has been it for us here in our webinar entitled Forest Restoration, A Path to Recovery and Well-Being for IDF 2021. I'm out. Peace. Have a great day ahead, everybody.